Hi everyone, welcome back to the London Football Show. Time for another episode as the season draws to a close. We'll start off with James. Thoughts on the news on David Moyes and West Ham's latest games?
Yep, very much so. I was very pleased with the reception Moyes got after the game. Majority of the stadium fans stayed. It was a poor game, poor first half. I've heard a lot and read a lot about it, and people have said it sums up sort of Moyes' tenure. Like the first half was pretty negative. The players weren't really playing. It looked like they were sort of already on holiday. Luton was sort of had a lot of chances in the first half, but then they couldn't maintain it for the second. But then West Ham had a bit more space in the second half, created their chances and took them. So overall, I think it was a good win, an important win for Moyes. That was his 100th league home game at West Ham. So he's been there for a while, and I think he deserved the send off that he got. You know, there's a lot of question marks over the way it was handled and things like that. But I think ultimately, you kind of got the impression halfway through the season that Moyes would probably go, but he wanted to go under his terms rather than sort of the board. And I think what basically has happened is that the board kind of made their decision and wanted to get moving on getting another manager. So in the end, it was probably best that it was announced prior to the last home game so that he could get the send off that he thoroughly deserved. And, you know, a lot of people now putting him into the sort of top three of West Ham managers, along with Greenwood and John Lyle, you know, who have won something, you know, and I think that's the way you got to look at it. And maybe West Ham, you know, in a year's time, season or two's time, let's see where we are at. And maybe majority of fans who do think Moyes did a good job will be joined by those that questioned it, you know, because to get European football 3 seasons running, to get to a semi-final, then to win the conference and then get to the quarter-final of the Europa League this season, I think is what West Ham and what the board wanted when they first thought about moving to the London Stadium. The move to the London Stadium was to increase capacity and to put West Ham into like a top six, top eight club and get European football. Well, David Moyes has delivered that, and he can go with my thanks and the majority of fans' thanks, and to say good luck to you. Whatever you do next, you fully deserve it. And he spoke very well after the game in the press room. Said it was the right decision. He seems happy with it. He's confident that, you know, he might take a break, he might not. It depends on what comes up. But they've still got one game to go, Man City. Hopefully, Man City will, you know, get the job done on Tuesday night against Tottenham. And then I don't see them having any problems with beating West Ham at their place on the last game of the season. But in terms of West Ham and David Moyes, would I have taken a quarter-final Europa League position, a top 10 finish after the season we had by winning the conference? I probably would have took that, you know, because I think to go out in the Europa League to Bayern Leverkusen, well, no one's beaten them, and we came close, like a few teams have with their last-minute equalisers or winners. So all in all, I think a good season for West Ham, and make it noted that we could finish ninth. Let's see what happens next season.
Is there any news on or any rumors about who may take over?
Well, I'll cut the rumour straight away. It's not going to be me, so I won't be taking over. As you boys know, I'm very adept to sort of managing awkward players. Isn't that right, Sion?
I
Anyway,
wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
no, I wouldn't know either. I might just take over a five-a-side team that plays on a Tuesday night. Who are looking desperate at the moment, but we won't talk about them. But no, I think the Wolves guy and the former Wolves and Spanish and Madrid manager
Oh,
is in
Lopetegui.
is in for a shout, and he looks like the favourite. I don't think anyone's going to come in and change that. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. Will it be another situation that West Ham have gone down that route like they did with Pellegrini and it didn't quite work? Or will it work? Will it keep the players like Kudus and Paquetá? Who knows? You know, we had a couple of youngsters come on. George Urphy got his first goal for West Ham coming on, having come on and get knocked out within the first few minutes in his previous game. He's done well to come on and score. And the youngster, Keelan Casey, big talk of Casey, very good player. So it just depends on who we get. But for me, it's not about who we get, it's about what they do. You know, I'm not going to have a say in who they get. I've got no say in it whatsoever. So my concern is, and like with other West Ham fans, is it's not who we get, it's what they do. They have to go out and prove it. You know, if he doesn't get us back into Europe within 2 seasons, doesn't get us in a good cup run in the league or FA Cup to the quarterfinal, FA Cup stage, and we don't finish in the top six next season, what was the point of changing? So that's the sort of that's the sort of effort and the sort of what the new manager's got to do. So for me, it's not who we get; it's what they do with it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Resampton, Man United, on course for I don't know if you're gonna what's it, fall below your lowest points tally ever in the Premier League, but obviously narrow defeat to Arsenal. So what are your thoughts on Man United's predicament?
I think my predictions haven't really changed. I said it way back in October that the season was written off. Um, there was a bit of hope between January to March. United had that purple patch, but other than that, we've been very inconsistent, poor, below average. I can stand here and make excuses, starting lineup, injuries, the fact that we don't have a solid back four being played consistently. But I look back at games that potentially, even without our strongest lineup, we should be going in thinking we should be able to win this game. And we come out losing 4-0 to the likes of Palace, breaking records that haven't been broken in years since the start of the Premier League era, to be honest. Um, just briefly talk on that, just briefly, Palace haven't beaten us at home in years. Come and do a 4-0 victory, haven't done the double over us, do it this season. Um, to move on to Arsenal, it wasn't the greatest game. I don't think Arsenal played their best, but they didn't have to, and that kind of speaks volumes. They came in, got the early goal, and then just sat back. And I wouldn't even say they sat back because we never really put the front foot on us. We never really took our chances. Two shots in the entire game on target. And one of them was Casemiro just coming in from centre back, just lunging it in. There was no effort. So really and truly, it was a poor game. I do think coming into the game, we did have high expectations, just given the rivalry, the expectation of the game. It being a derby, everything goes out the window. But if we're being realistic, when you look at the starting level we put out, I think it's more offensive to Arsenal for not putting in more than two, three goals past our net, in my opinion. I think Arsenal had the chances. I think, like I said, they were satisfied with the one goal. That was enough for them. I think if you ask any rival fan or any club that if you come to Old Trafford and get a 1-0 win, they'll happily take it. Where does this leave United? It's going to be an interesting summer. Definitely. A lot of players need to leave. A lot of players need to be signed as well. The market is very dry. There's not many talents out there. So you see where recruitment has to be top notch. Our scouts have to be looking for players that other teams aren't looking for. And given United's history, we can't be overpaying and giving too much high wages because that has to stop us all because it just seems to be a problem at this club. Um, Only thing to look forward for myself is the FA Cup final, which I said even if we win, I'm not going to celebrate. It's just an extra number to the cabinet. Once the game is finished, we move on to next season. That's it.
What do you think about European football then? Like, if you finish eighth, then you'll have to obviously win the cup final. Do you think you can get conference maybe, or
I
like
think
you've
it's
given
out of
up
our
on
hands
like the
now.
league?
Given the fact that we still have to play Newcastle on Wednesday, Brighton away, and also those two, sorry, I think those two are the the only games left for us. I don't see us picking up any points against Newcastle. Newcastle are on form. Yes, they drew to Brighton, but I think it was just a bit of a bad day. I think Isak's just going to come to Old Trafford and rip us apart. Gordon, given his history against United as well, probably come and do a shift. Brighton, not exactly our easiest team. We struggled against them and we're away as well, so it's not looking too good for us. So yeah, could potentially even finish ninth, but that all depends on how West Ham fares. Given West Ham still have to play Man City as well, maybe not, but who knows? I think we're going to finish minimum eighth. I don't see us finishing seventh. I think Chelsea, Newcastle, and Tottenham have secured fifth to seventh. As it stands, Tottenham can still stand a chance of getting top four if Villa slip up tonight. So
Yeah.
it's all to play for, to be honest. With United, it's completely out. If we do win FA Cup and we get European football, that's great. More money, more revenue. an extra game for me to watch and suffer.
You know, you know what? I even only just realized that Brighton, funny enough, their last three games of the season, they finished with Newcastle, Arsenal, and United. Literally, they got the biggest say on like sixth to eighth, basically. So I'm glad they did us a favor in the getting a draw at Newcastle. So I need Newcastle to slip up. I need United to at least draw with Newcastle because if Newcastle win their two remaining games, we can't catch them because their goal difference is clear of us. So yeah, I need United to put in a shift for me on is it Wednesday night? So yeah. Obviously I'm surprised. This is our sort of best form of the season. We've left it very late. It couldn't have been any later than this. Big win at Forest on Saturday. Once Hudson-Odoi put them 2-1 up. It was game over. I was like, that's it. That's Europe. That Europa League was done there and then. Even a draw wouldn't have been enough realistically because obviously Newcastle superior goal difference. That's almost like an extra point in the table at this stage. So we needed to come back. I'm glad we did. Obviously, for me, obviously, if we get Europa League, obviously, I wasn't Poch's biggest fan coming in, but I can accept him starting next season if we get Europa, even though ideally, regardless of where we finish now, I want him gone. But I don't think it would be fair to sack him if he came sixth. But conference, I don't know, man. Obviously, I said I would have taken it, which I don't go back on now. If you told me conference or nothing, I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Obviously, it's not in our hands. We just have to hopefully win our two remaining games. We got Brighton away on Thursday, no, Wednesday night, same as United, Newcastle. So that won't be easy. That's their final home game, I believe. No, no, no. Actually, no. United's at home on the last day, but yeah, it's not going to be easy. I just hope we get the job done, basically, and maybe sneak sixth. That would be the perfect end into the season. What's been a terrible season for us as well. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Um, I wanted to move on to the title race. What do we think? Spurs, do Spurs understand the assignment tomorrow night?
Well, what do you do if
5-0
you're a
home
Spurs
defeat.
fan? What do you do if you're a Spurs fan? Do you
Oh,
turn up?
you celebrate Man
You,
City's goal, surely.
you turn up and hope your team beat Man City to hand the title to Arsenal, your biggest rivals? Come on, come on. You can go as a Tottenham fan to that game and put your feet up and you're on holiday. And if Man
Yeah.
City manage to score a few goals, then by all means go and score them. You will not want to beat Man City and hand the title to Arsenal.
Yeah, nah, surely not, man. And the thing is, I know who was it? Was it Paul Merson saying yesterday that the best thing for Arsenal would be for Villa to lose to Liverpool because then Spurs can still overtake Villa. But I'm thinking, nah. For Spurs, you can sacrifice Champions League. Spurs, you ain't gonna win the Champions League, man. You don't need to get Champions League. Relax. There's always next year. It's not the be all end all. Take Europa League football. But if Spurs beat Man City, no, I can't watch. I won't watch Sunday's fixtures. I cannot. I'm leaving Instagram. I'm logging off. No one's hearing from me all summer. I'm not watching the Euros. I cannot have Arsenal win this Premier League. But they've done well to give credit to Arsenal. I didn't expect them to actually take the race this far. I thought this would be Liverpool. If you told me who would be competing with Man City when I looked at Liverpool's fixtures back in April, I thought this would be Liverpool and Arsenal would have lasted till like game week 35. I didn't expect them to stay in the race this long. So I give them credit for that. Obviously, best defensive record in the league. Gabriel, I mean, Saliba, I saw yesterday he got man of the match in the away games at Anfield, Etihad, and obviously yesterday. So I'm surprised he wasn't in the running for player of the season, as I was with Rodri as well. Not seeing him there surprised me. I thought Rodri definitely, I think he deserved to be a contender to win it, but he's obviously not on the list. But yeah, title race gonna go down to the wire. I just need Man City to do their job. I trust them as well to do the job tomorrow and West Ham as well. So hopefully they get it done. But yeah, anything to add before we wrap up? Obviously we'll do
Well, I've
with the
got a couple
season
of
finishing.
questions. I've got a couple
Yep,
of questions then,
yep,
just for
yep.
you two, because we spoke about David Moyes and how he got a good reception and he had a good 4.5 years at West Ham, which is quite a long time in Premier League management for a club in this sort of generation. You spoke really well, Rasampham, about Man United, and you, Sion, are now bigging up Chelsea because they're going to possibly do something which you've been very quiet all year because you know how poor they've been. But I remember saying earlier on in one of the podcasts that Chelsea will get Europe and they will do very well. And I said Arsenal were not title contenders. Nice to see you finally agree with me, Sion, by the way. And now you're saying that you don't want them to win the title. Yes, thank you
I
very
never
much
want
for
them to win.
joining us. But anyway, the question is to you two, going back to David Moyes. Wayne Rooney made a comment yesterday about David Moyes. I said it's not been as bad since David Moyes, but Man United fans should have held on to David Moyes a little bit longer. They might have won a bit more by now. But my question is to you two. Will you be happy with your current manager in your dugout at the start of next season? Because you've
No.
seen what Poch has done with that young team, could potentially get them top six. So there's a future there. But do you see him staying and hanging on? And same with you. Man United could do the FA Cup double. Congratulations to the Man United women's team. Did really well, won the FA Cup yesterday. You could do the double by winning the men's FA Cup. But do you still want Ten Hag in your dugout at the start of next season? And if you don't, who do you want instead? Because you could have Gareth Southgate for Man United, David Moyes for Chelsea. Anyway, your answers, please, Sion and Rasenford. Are you sticking or are you twisting?
I am twisting.
Oh,
I'm twisting because you know what, with
so
me,
who?
with
Not
Poch,
going to
I
bring
just
Tuchel back, are you? Or Mourinho?
nah. I want Sporting. I want Sporting's manager. I want Ruben Amorim. That's who I want.
Well,
I want him in charge.
West Ham
Uh,
did have a little look at him. But
oh yeah. I saw him.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
flying for talks a
So,
couple of weeks ago
so
or something like
Sion
that.
now copying West Ham. That's interesting.
I
Anyway,
want
so
Ruben
you'd get rid
Amorim.
of Poch. You'd get rid of Poch.
Yeah. I would. I still do.
If he
I think.
delivers you top six,
Yeah.
got you to the FA Cup semi-final.
I just don't think. I don't think he's the one to like take us to where we need to be. I just don't. I
I'm
don't think. I
surprised
think
you're
this is.
saying
I
that.
think
I'm
this is
being
his
genuine
pinnacle.
here. I know we sometimes have a little bit of
This is his
a
pinnacle.
joke here, but I'm surprised because I thought he's done very well towards the end. Rasantham, your idea on Man United? Yeah,
I
stick
think
or twist?
I think Ten Hag deserves one more season, in my opinion. I think what he accomplished in his first season was incredible. I do think he did exceed expectations. You could argue maybe he got away with it, but something clicked in the first season. Something in the back room, the tactics, something worked because it wasn't, I wouldn't say we necessarily got lucky. There were games where maybe we should have lost off, but if you think about it, Carabao Cup run, as much as bad as the teams we faced were poor, we still beat whoever was in front of us and we won the final convincingly. Same with the FA Cup last season. Brighton was only our toughest opponent, which we beat them on pens. I think for me personally, it was just the players not turning up on the final of the FA Cup. This season, it's just gone pear-shaped. For me, it's more so individuals. Again, I'm not necessarily going to blame them or make the scapegoats, but it's more of a question of what happened to them. Casemiro, I think it's just a case of like, it's just legs are gone. Maybe Premier League caught up to him. Um, one of those things. One of my biggest doubts for me personally is Rashford. His inconsistencies over the years. Had a brilliant season last season, set the ceiling, failed to live up to it this season, and it's come nowhere near close, not even double digits. Um, Other players, I'll be honest, there hasn't been much scapegoats or anyone that's been performing as bad. Obviously, there was issues around De Gea last season, but Onana's not really been that bad. He can only do what he can do with the back four he's given. We've played so many defenders, so many. I mean, to the point where we've now relied on Casemiro, a defensive midfielder, a number six in
Mm.
defensive centre back position. So I would give Ten Hag one more season. My only doubt with that is his talent, his recruitment. He, for some reason, he always only targets either the Dutch league or Dutch players, which is not good enough for me. Players like Anthony, 80 million should have never came. Martinez, for me now, even now, I thought he was brilliant first season, but had he known or had there been more inspections in terms of his medical, knowing if he was going to be so injury prone, I wouldn't have signed him. Um, Other signings
No.
like Malacia, nowhere to be sound or heard about. God knows what's going on there. So this summer will really show if United still have that pool and if we can still get top players into the club or get players that are willing to fight for the badge. Because I didn't see that yesterday. Honestly, I didn't. I thought, out of all the games, yesterday was the one to turn up for. It didn't. So one more season, one more transfer window. He
No,
had,
Yeah.
I think you're right, and I think Sion's wrong. I think you both stick with the same manager, and I think you'll do better next season. I think both teams, if they stick with their managers, we'll finish higher in the league and win a piece of silverware. That's how I
You
see
know,
it.
I think if anyone should stick out of the two of us, I would agree. I would say it's us. The thing with Ten Hag, which is like sort of different to like let's say Arteta, for example, when Arsenal fans wanted him out, like you could see Arteta, he never if Ten Hag, if he switched the seasons around, if he had this season in his first season and then last season now, it would have been fine. United fans would have been like, okay, there's clear progression, but it's not just like two steps back. They've literally fallen down a staircase and they're still falling. It's an endless staircase with them this season. Whereas if you look at Arteta, he came eighth twice, fifth, second again, well, possibly this season, but the points tally is improving every single season. So with him, you saw his constant progression. So he's not really declined yet if you look at the previous year. Same with
Mm.
Klopp. When Klopp came at Liverpool, it was like 5 years of only up before they had that season where they had to play Henderson and Fabinho at centre back when Van Dijk got the injury. So it was 5 years before they fell off, and then even then they went and challenged for the quadruple straight the year after. Obviously, in his final year now, he's still got third in the trophy, still a very good season, but like Ten Hag's the one where he's declined in terms of from his previous year. Because I know the expectation for United last season, they arguably overachieved third in the cup, which if they overachieved based on their previous years, not for the club United are third in the trophy. That's standard for them. But with this season now, it's tough. It's tough to see how he lasts um past this summer. I think he's going. I think Ten Hag will be sacked. Me, if I had to give a prediction from like the outside view.
Interesting. Interesting.
But
Interesting to
yeah,
see.
obviously, with the season coming to a close, future episodes will review our season's predictions, quiz, all of that will be upcoming episodes. And anything to add before we wrap up? No? All right. Take care, everyone. Like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you all again soon.